Hello, crypto YouTube, crypto family. This is Crypto Farang, pre-recorded from Thailand. And if you haven't had a chance to do so already, please like and subscribe to the channel and follow me on Twitter at Crypto Farang. Welcome back to the channel. And yesterday was more or less a 20 subscribers celebration video. Thank you so much for all my diehard fans out there. You are making this channel possible. And as always, I am not a cryptocurrency expert, a blockchain specialist, or a financial advisor. I'm just another digital asset maniac making YouTube content. And today, I wanted to do a quick market update. We are back over 10,000 US dollars for one Bitcoin at 2:45 p.m. on a Tuesday here in Chiang Mai, Thailand. After Bitcoin's recent pump, back up over 10,000 US dollars. We're trading a bit sideways. XRP knocking on 30 cents at 0.294. And VeChain trading sideways just under 0.007. And so I'm really excited to see the volatility back in the market over the last few weeks. I think that that's a good sign. And hopefully we're going to see some really positive price movements in the very near future. And if you've listened to any of my other videos, you know that I am bullish in the short, medium, and long term. So I'm just holding on and having fun. I'm along for the ride here, and we shall see. I saw some tweets on crypto Twitter today that this is the last time we will see Bitcoin under 10,000 US dollars before this most recent pump. And I find that somewhat entertaining. I will not give my opinions on that. I think it's entirely possible that we could dip back under 10,000 US dollars. I think it's entirely possible that we will not see a sub $10,000 Bitcoin. And so just to quickly highlight a news article from Bitcoin.com. This is a regulation article about different regulatory news regarding cryptocurrency and digital assets from around the world. This is a good read. I will include the link in the description. And just quickly, regulatory roundup. Trump's cryptocurrency proposals, IRS changes rules, and China quarantines cash. In this roundup, we cover numerous cryptocurrency regulatory developments in the U.S., including President Trump's crypto proposals, testimonies by the Federal Reserve Chairman and the Treasury Secretary, a crypto-friendly SEC proposal, and the IRS changing a crypto tax rule. China's mentioned here, and that was really interesting. And then I have, as I mentioned in a previous video, German banks are intending to offer cryptocurrency custodial services to their existing customers, potentially exposing a whole new group of people to cryptocurrency and digital assets. So it's very exciting, and I did scan through most of the article. I am of the opinion that regardless of the regulatory framework that we ultimately get in the United States for digital assets and cryptocurrencies, this is not going to heavily impact your average hodler, your average trader. This is my opinion. I think that the momentum has taken on a life of its own with the digital asset market, and especially with Bitcoin, this thing cannot be stopped. That being said, because cryptocurrency transactions are not anonymous, well, of course, depending on the blockchain you're on, there are some privacy tokens. But if we're talking about Bitcoin, if we're talking about XRP, forensics can track activity on these blockchains. So I think that the regulatory framework is going to mostly target criminals, okay? And so who's considered a criminal? Well, someone who is engaging with inappropriate content potentially engaging in nefarious activities on the dark web, things that are considered illegal, drugs, kiddie porn, prostitution, weapons, things like this. Hey, I'm all for curtailing people's access to things like, well, let's just say things that potentially cause harm to individuals, animals, children. I do have some opinions about the freedom to engage in drug use if that's your choice. But in terms of things that could potentially harm people, I'm all for targeting and curtailing that activity. So if the regulations can potentially inhibit some of this illicit behavior, well, frankly, I'm all for it. And so who knows, maybe regulating digital assets will be more effective at curtailing this type of activity than the use of, let's say, cash, which has traditionally been used for so many things deemed criminal. And then I think the other group is going to be, and if it hasn't happened this year, I think it's going to happen very soon in the next year or two, people who are trying to avoid paying taxes on their digital asset capital gains. I think it's very important. I can only speak for citizens of the United States, but I think it's very, very important to pay and accurately disclose earnings on capital gains from digital asset sales. I think that the IRS and the strategies that will be in place to track people who are not accurately reporting, I think that is going to get ramped up exponentially. So just a word of advice, it's always good to accurately disclose on your taxes. And I will say that I accurately disclosed some capital gains on my taxes this year. I sold a little bit of Bitcoin and I made a little bit of money. And I also reinvested back into XRP with some of those proceeds. So that is my thought on U.S. regulation. And then moving forward, I think that this section here about China and what's going on with the coronavirus and them moving forward into implementing blockchain and digital assets into the existing banking system is just fascinating. There are some interesting conspiracy theories out there about whether this coronavirus outbreak was engineered and intentional by the Chinese government. I don't want to go into a lot of my opinion or my thinking around this. All I will say is that it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. I wouldn't put anything past the Chinese government, and in fact the U.S. government for that matter. I think China is a little or much less unapologetic about the tactics that they might take to control their population. And implementing a digital yuan on a blockchain into the existing banking system, I think, is the last big piece in the puzzle for China to really get a complete stranglehold on its population and control individuals that could potentially be of interest to the government. This is just absolutely fascinating to me, and I hate to say it, but I think this is good for the cryptocurrency space and the cryptocurrency market. And I think it would be naive to assume that the United States is not taking this very seriously. So I do not align too heavily with these pretty wild theories and ideas about XRP potentially being the solution for a global financial reset. There are some content creators that have some pretty wild theories, and in fact, I've even enjoyed listening to some of these videos. But we just don't have any evidence to support the idea that this could be the case. However, I will say, given the fact that there is all this momentum behind China implementing digital assets into the existing banking system, what if XRP, being that it has been established some years ago. They have actively been working with regulators. What if XRP is the solution, the digital asset of choice that the Federal Reserve could potentially use in the event of a global financial reset? I do think it's interesting, but I would never go any further than that. But just given the fact that there has already been so much work put into establishing XRP, establishing XRP's potential use case by Ripple, wouldn't that be wild if there really is a situation where maybe one XRP could be worth 10,000 US dollars? Really crazy to think about. Yes, crazy times we are in indeed. So give this a read. Very interesting. And as always, thank you so much for joining me on the channel today. And if you haven't done so, please like and subscribe. And as a reminder, please treat others the way that you'd like to be treated. And remember, crypto hindsight is always 20/20. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.